Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Mayor Michael Hancock's Cabinet in the Community. We are glad you are here this morning. Good morning, my name is Anthony Aragon, and I serve in the Agency for Human Rights and Community Partnerships, part of the Mayor's Community Affairs team. Very excited to be here in this space this morning, and looking forward to a very lively presentation this morning, followed by the City Fair, which will open as soon as our town hall portion concludes. Also, if you're looking for employment, we have several agencies that have set up tables as part of our job fair. So we look forward to you, if you would like to participate in looking at employment opportunities, that as soon as our town hall has concluded, there will be an opportunity for you to visit with employers. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Retired Major General John Berry. He is the President and CEO here at Wings Over the Rockies Air and Space Museum. He served in the Air Force for over 30 years as a combat veteran, fighter pilot, U.S. Air Force Top Gun graduate, and military assistant to the Secretary of Defense. He retired in 2004, having served his last tour on active duty as board member and executive director for the Space Shuttle Columbia accident investigation. At this time, please welcome retired Major General John Berry.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Welcome to Wings Over the Rockies Air and Space Museum. What a great name, Wings Over the Rockies Air and Space Museum. It's wonderful. Mayor Hancock, it's a delight and honor to be able to host this event today. Councilwoman Sussman, who is a great supporter of the museum, and someone I'll just talk about when I do an introduction here. And thank you to the staff who are here today to represent the city of Denver. Now, I'm going to defer on my introductory remarks to do something that's kind of fun, particularly for the young people. Over here, if you'll direct your attention, we have two gentlemen. One is Tom Neff and his son Brian. They are national champions for radio control aircraft. Now, Tom, the father, that's the older guy there, he is the one that's won it 7 times. His son has won it 1 time. They're going to be flying a Click aircraft that actually flies like an airplane and hovers like a helicopter, you know? So it is one of the things that we're excited about here. You may not know this, but we have kids that come here every day as part of a Elevate online school. And 1 day a week, they come here, they build drones, we're building a real airplane to fly. They meet astronauts and pilots and get to fly in aircraft and gliders and helicopters. But now, let me introduce to you Tom and Brian, and they are going to demonstrate the Click aircraft. Please.
You never know what you can do until you get it on the line. You can go.
Tom and Brian Neff. Thanks, guys. So our kids get to build those and actually get to fly them too. So that's something that's really good. So ladies and gentlemen, let me just brief introduction points. As most of you know, this was part of Lowry Air Force Base. Lowry Air Force Base was opened in 1937. It closed in 1994. Since that time, 23 years ago, we have had a museum, and we're very proud of that. This building, this hangar, was built in 1941. So there are some challenges to keep the heat going on in a building like this, as you can imagine. So, but I do want to mention a couple of things. A lot of you have spent time in here, I hope, and then maybe come to some of our events. We have our annual gala next Saturday, and we are going to honor some homegrown heroes. The Flight for Life Ambulatory Rescue Service, you see their helicopters flying in their fixed wing, rescuing people all around the state of Colorado. They were the first ambulatory civilian rescue service in the entire country, right? 1972, 45 years ago. We are going to honor them for what they've been able to do all of these years. In fact, we're going to have as a show the silhouettes. How many people have seen the silhouettes on America's Got Talent? Yeah, a lot of people. So that's one of the fun things. And these are kids from Colorado, 16 years and under, who do this show kind of behind the screen in silhouettes. And they can make their body shape a soldier shooting a gun like in a war, or the Washington Monument. It's absolutely amazing. So please, if you want, you'll get some certificates out as you go out and visit one of our tables over there. The other thing I just want to mention to you, we're doing something here that's unique to the nation. We are building a new facility out at Centennial Airport. We'll always have this building for the past. We celebrate the past in a museum. But out at Centennial Airport, we have 15 acres on the airfield where we're going to put a blue sky gallery for airplanes for the present and future, a black sky gallery for present and future for space. We're putting a middle school and connecting with a high school. We're going to be doing pilot training, aircraft maintenance training, and air traffic control training, workforce readiness that I know the mayor is very supportive of as he goes along. On that also, we're going to be able to have a training school and maybe an extension of a college and a university, all on 15 acres. That's what's unique to the nation. But the last thing I'll say about this can be replicated in any city, in any part of the Colorado area, or in the nation. And the reason is because, I don't know if you know this, we have a great shortage of pilots, aircraft mechanics, and air traffic controllers. In fact, the United States Air Force, of which I am a proud veteran of 30 years, we have a request out right now for 1,000 pilots who have left the Air Force to come back into the Air Force as pilots because it's that much of a shortage. On our campus, we will set the model on how this can be replicated around the entire country, and maybe even have an extension of the National Air and Space Museum, National Aviation Hall of Fame, from Ohio as we go forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed an honor to have the opportunity to host this for the great city of Denver, the greatest city in the country. And it is indeed an honor to be able to introduce Councilwoman Maribel Sussman. Now, Councilmember Sussman has also got a connection. Now, besides being an amazing supporter of us here in the museum and this particular part of the city, I will tell you that her father was a retired Major General in the United States Air Force. And he was one of the guys that helped build Strategic Air Command, which was part of what helped us win the Cold War. The only problem, he was a bomber pilot and I'm a fighter pilot, but that's okay. But ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor and privilege to introduce to you Councilwoman Sussman.
Thank you, General Barry. It was just such a pleasure to welcome you to the district and to this absolutely wonderful venue, and for you to hear from General Barry, who is doing amazing things for development of aviation careers and also things that this museum does. You're in Great District 5. You're in our Lowry Air Force Base redo, one of the most successful Air Force conversions in the country. Welcome to District 5. I'm so happy to be hosting this and with our mayor and all of the people in the city. And glad you're here. So with that, I get to introduce our wonderful mayor, Michael B. Hancock. I've had the pleasure of working with him for 6 years now, going on 7. I've just been so impressed by his leadership. He's taught me a lot about leadership, about good city stewardship. I couldn't be more proud to have him in my district. Please help me welcome Mayor Hancock.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for being here today. You ready for Cabinet in the Community? We want to thank you for taking a bit of your Saturday to be with us today. This event has really become part of our life here in the city of Denver, one in which my cabinet and agency leads, I know, just love coming out to be a part of Cabinet Community and to get a chance to meet with residents, to hear your thoughts, your concerns, as well as some of your aspirations for the city of Denver. We got a lot that we're going to do today, so I'm going to jump right into this. There are a couple of folks I want to acknowledge who are here as well. First of all, I think it's always fitting for us to start. I want to join with me in thanking the people who just flew the plane over here, and thank our Major General John Berry, a good friend, one of our great leaders. Not only did he serve in protecting and really furthering the liberties of this great nation, but then he came back and became a superintendent of education. I think at times he probably wanted to go back into the war zone, but thank you very much, John, for your leadership. And then to run this museum, he's just a tremendous community steward. I also want to acknowledge our first responders who are here. Join me in thanking our men and women who are in blue, our Denver Police Department, our firefighters, our Denver Health EMTs, and our sheriffs are in the house as well. Thank you all for being here. We're going to hear from Commander Megan Dodge in just a moment. I also want to acknowledge the other elected officials who are here. Our clerk and recorder, Deborah Johnson, is in the house somewhere. It's elected. Deborah Johnson is there. Thank you. The Honorable Beth McCann, our district attorney, is here as well. There she is. Thank you. And joining Councilwoman Sussman from the Denver City Council, we want to celebrate Councilwoman Kendra Black. Black is in the house. Thank you, Councilwoman Black. Let's jump right into this. We are glad to be back into the Lowry neighborhood. In this room are many department heads, agency leads. Denver Health is here. Denver Library is here as well. I'm going to ask all of the city employees and cabinet and agency leads who are going to be answering your questions and doing what we can to get you information. Please stand and be acknowledged for bringing your time and services here today. Thank you very much. So we're busy in the city of Denver. We're working on addressing some high-level priority issues that we say high-level, but really are meant to impact grassroots quality of life in our city. I know I don't have to say this because we're preaching to every citizen in the city that affordable housing is a major issue that we are focused on. Last year, we were able to reach an agreement with City Council to further a $150 million effort to build housing over the next 10 years in the city of Denver. We also have other strategies like temporary rental and utility assistance that we've rolled out. The ideal is to provide up to 6 months of assistance to qualified folks facing eviction. And you can find out more about that effort by calling 311 or going to denvergov.org. We want you to know that our goal is to leverage our investments as much as possible to further the creation and the making available of affordable housing in our city of Denver. We're going to be talking about housing for, I promise you, in this city for the next 10 years. But we're going to learn more about this. You can learn more about it by going to denvergov.org /housing. And we're, of course, going to be doing public meetings. There'll be one on November the 8th at Calvary Baptist Church in Denver if you want to come in and comment on our 5-year housing plan in the city of Denver. We want and need your feedback as we try to move forward with the best strategic plan to address housing in the city of Denver. So please, again, November the 8th, which is Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, at Calvary Baptist Church. Come in and take a look at our 5-year strategic plan around housing, and we'd love to hear your thoughts about our plan going forward. The other issue, of course, is congestion. I don't know, have you noticed, transportation, have you noticed in the city of Denver we've had more congestion lately? Anybody notice that? You haven't noticed it? And it doesn't matter whether it's on Monday or Sunday. We are seeing the city grow. I have done a lot of media this week where we talked about the growth of Denver, and one of the things that we can agree on is that this growth really jumped on the city of Denver very quickly. There was nothing we could do to kind of plan for this surge of growth. But doesn't mean that we can't respond appropriately to it and we can't work to manage it. And so one of the things we're working on, of course, and you're going to hear about some of this from Chrissy Fanganello in just a moment, with regards to how the city is working to respond to some of the challenges related to growth as it relates to our transportation network. We want residents to be safe, which is why we also signed on to the Vision Zero effort that is nationwide. Our goal is to eliminate traffic deaths in the city of Denver and serious injuries on our streets by 2030. And we're going to do this through a very specific set of tactics and actions and increased cross-departmental collaboration that we've laid out in Vision Zero to help us be more effective in advancing this action plan and to address some of the challenges that we have. And so again, you'll listen to Chrissy, but if you want to go to denvergov.org/Vision Zero, we'll have more information on that plan. But the plan lays out 70 specific actions that all of us can take, the city's going to take to create safer lives and to create safer streets over the next 5 years. So here's what you're going to hear today. We're going to have several presentations. We're going to have Laura Perry come up. We're going to talk about the GO bond that we all get a chance to vote on this Tuesday. Who's voted in the room so far? All right, that's what I'm talking about. For those of you who haven't, stand up so the whole city can see you right now. Okay, I'm going to do that. We're going to talk about that GO bond because this is a critical opportunity for all of us to weigh in. Chrissy Fanganello, who is our Transportation and Mobility Director, is going to come up and talk to you about more on Vision Zero work. I think we're going to have Amber McReynolds come up as well and briefly talk about the election that we're going to have on Tuesday. And then lastly, we have Commander Dodge. And I didn't see Deputy Chief Q here. Deputy Chief Q, who's going to stand in for Chief White, and Commander Dodge, who oversees the police department, or at least this area of town. So if you're ready, we're going to jump into this. So my first message is this. Don't forget to vote. For those of you who have not mailed in your ballots or dropped off your ballots, I'm going to share with you it's probably too late to mail in your ballot. No, let's just say it's too late to mail in your ballot. If you want to be counted, we want to make sure that you drop off your ballot. You can go to denvervotes.org to find out where to drop off your ballot. But guess what? We brought a box here today if you want to drop your ballot off. Anybody bring their ballot with them? You brought your ballot? Fantastic. If you live in the area, we'll be here until 11 o'clock. You're going to run home, fill out your ballot, seal it, bring it back. You can drop it in our box today. And guess what? We'll stop calling you. But make sure you do vote and make sure that we have all of our votes counted. The second thing I want to share with you, as the weather gets going, and inevitably we're going to have 1, 2, maybe 3 significant snow events in the city of Denver through the fall and winter. We have a program called Denver Snow Angels. And there is a table here today for Denver Snow Angels. It's for people who maybe are elderly or disabled, who are unable to shovel their snow. And we have created a program with a partnership of a lot of partners that if you know of an individual like that, the goal is that we're going to hand out door hanger placards. They can put it on their door. And that is a signal for residents, neighbors, friends to take care of their snow, to go shovel their sidewalks, their driveways. And that is an effort being coordinated by the City of Denver, my office, and Office of HR, Human Rights and Community Partnerships. And we'll be announcing a fantastic new media partner very soon. It's going to help us spread the word. So I want to make sure, as you listen to us today, as you walk around, go by the Snow Angels table, because you may have someone on your block who fits that description. And we want to make sure they get a door hanger, so when we do have an event, neighbors can be alerted to help take care of the snow on their sidewalks. So let's get started. We're going to bring up Laura Perry, who is going to talk about our COP program.
Thank you, Mayor Hancock. Good morning. My name is Laura Perry, and I am the Capital Program Manager in the Department of Finance. And today at Cabinet in the Community, I'm joined by my colleagues, Courtney Law, our Director of Communications in the Department of Finance, and Tychus Holloway, our Deputy Chief Projects Officer, who worked together to formulate the GEO bond package that is before voters today. Denver voters currently have 7 questions in front of them on the Denver ballot due on November 7th, asking whether the city should invest $937 million in capital infrastructure, such as libraries, roads, parks, police and fire stations, and other facilities. This list totals over 460 capital projects. The investment in these types of facilities would be done through a financing tool called a general obligation bond, also known as a GO bond. A general obligation bond is a funding tool to restore, replace, construct, and expand our city's infrastructure. The city issues GO bonds roughly every 10 years, with the last issuance being the $550 million Better Denver Bond in 2007, through which the city completed over 380 capital projects citywide, such as the Corky Gonzalez Library on the west side of town and the Lowry Fire Station serving Council District 5. The proposed 27 bond package does not require a change to tax rates because the city continues to pay off older debt and has seen an increase in property values over the last several valuation cycles. One question you may have today is how in the world were the projects before voters selected? There were three major steps in the GO bond process that the city followed, which spanned an 18-month period. The development of the project list, evaluation of the project list, and recommendation of that final project list to the voters. The development of the project list kicked off in March of 2016, and the first step was evaluating the city's 6-year capital plan, which is a plan that's updated every 2 years and documents the city's major capital needs that exceed what we can afford to do within the city's annual capital improvement budget. This plan was thoroughly vetted by departments and coupled with 6 community meetings that were held over the span of 2 months, through which we received over 3,000 ideas and comments. The team read every single idea and comment, coupled that with the needs identified in our 6-year capital plan, resulting in a list that was also informed by our cultural institutions and Denver Health, and totaled $3.8 million. Sorry, $1 billion, not $1 million, different one. This list then went on to be evaluated by 6 stakeholder committees. These committees were comprised of 60-plus volunteers and met for over 90 hours, which totaled 50 meetings. Within these meetings, these committees formulated a recommendation via an executive committee, which were then moved forward to the mayor for final recommendation to City Council. Through the stakeholder process, we received an additional 1,000 ideas through emails, public testimony, and other means, which totaled 4,000 ideas from the public feeding into this $937 million GO package. Once the mayor received the recommendation, he worked directly with City Council leadership, who deliberated and unanimously approved that project list in August of 2017. And these are the projects that are before you today. As I mentioned earlier, to reiterate, the bond list today includes over 460 distinct projects that help the city repair roads and bridges, improve parks, playgrounds, rec centers, upgrade our police and fire stations, and enhance our libraries, cultural centers, and the Denver Health Medical Center. Some key statistics for you today about the $937 million package. More than half of those projects, those 460 projects, go to fix and repair our existing assets to ensure that they are there for generations to come. More than half of those 460 projects, $430 million worth, are transportation and mobility projects, which address some of the challenges that Mayor Hancock mentioned earlier. These include repaving 377 miles of Denver streets, repair and improving 9 of our city bridges in dire condition, constructing 33 miles of sidewalks across the city, constructing 17 miles of protected bike lanes and 32 miles of neighborhood bikeways, and of course, other improvements to improve pedestrian safety. We have a significant investment in our facilities within this bond package as well, including repairs and critical improvements at 19 of our fire stations, and 11 Denver Public Library branches, including Central Branch Library downtown, slated to receive renovations. And last but certainly not least, there is $136 million of investment in the GEO bond for Parks and Recreation. This includes restoring and improving 47 of our Denver neighborhood parks, repairing and improving 21 of our Denver recreation centers, and building and renovating 3 of our Denver community swimming pools. Within Council District 5 specifically, there is an investment of $31.5 million proposed in the GEO bond package. These investments include $1.8 million proposed for parks and recreation centers, such as upgrades to the Montclair Recreation Center, improvements to Crestmore Park, Robinson Park, and Montclair Park. There is $25.8 million in transportation investments, including in the $937 million bond in District 5. This includes the paving of 32 lane miles of streets, constructing over 2 miles of sidewalks, and constructing over 5 miles of bikeway. There is a significant investment planned in the Colfax Avenue, specifically in pedestrian infrastructure and the construction of bus rapid transit along Colfax. And then last, there's a $3.8 million proposed investment for improvements to fire stations 14 and 19 and a renovation of the Schlesman Family Branch Library. For more information, any questions you have, you're encouraged to visit the 27 GEO bond table as well as the Department of Finance table following this morning's presentation. You can also access information on the city's 2017 GEO bond website at denvergov.org/2017 GeoBond. And next, I have the honor of introducing our Director of Transportation, Chrissy Fanganello, who's here to talk to you about the city's Vision Zero efforts.
Good morning. It's really great to be here. It's always fun to be out in the community and talk to the citizens about the issues that are in front of us. For a minute here, I'm going to talk about Vision Zero, and it's going to get a little bit serious, so I just want to let everyone know. Last year in this country, more than 40,000 people were killed in traffic-related crashes. Over 500 people in Colorado lost their lives, and over 106 people have lost their lives in Denver since January of 2016. 45 of those have happened this year in 2017. It is sobering to acknowledge that every 6 days, someone loses their life simply traveling in our city, going to the store, or to work, or to school, or to see family and friends. And unfortunately, the loss of life due to traffic crashes is a growing issue in Denver and across the country. But these crashes are also preventable. We must, and we will, do better. Safety must be an important consideration for our streets. Here in Denver, most of us, well over 70% of us, choose to drive, and about 5% of us choose to walk. These are for work trips or get to school trips. However, when we review traffic-related crashes that result in a fatality, 38% of fatalities involve a pedestrian. Compared to a driver, a pedestrian is 30 times more likely to die in a crash. And as we know from our research, 50% of our fatal traffic crashes occur on only 5% of our streets. We hear from our citizens every day about the safety of our streets. We all want our neighborhoods and our city to be safe, and we share your concern. That is why in early 2016, Mayor Hancock, as he mentioned, declared Denver a Vision Zero city, joining cities worldwide in a movement to eliminate traffic-related fatalities and severe injuries. That is why city staff then worked diligently over the last year to develop a Vision Zero action plan, specific and unique to Denver. That is why the launch of the Vision Zero action plan, at that launch last month, Mayor Hancock made a commitment to eliminate all traffic-related deaths and serious injuries on Denver's roadways by 2030. Our goal is zero, not because it's easy. Our goal is zero because no other goal is acceptable. Even one loss of life is one too many. To develop the plan, we worked in coordination with the Police Department and Public Works and Environmental Health and with the Denver Vision Zero Coalition, which was a group of citizens that formed in partnership with organizations such as Walk Denver and Bike Denver, that inter-neighborhood council coordination, cooperation, and the mayor's bicycle and pedestrian advisory committees. We worked with many of our partner agencies, including the Colorado Department of Transportation, Denver Public Schools, and RTD. The Vision Zero Action Plan is a major step forward in prioritizing human lives on our streets, laying out nearly 70 specific actions to save lives and create safe streets over the next 5 years. Thanks to $1.5 million allocated in the mayor's 2018 budget and the addition of 2 full-time staff, we will start implementing these actions immediately. The mayor's 2018 budget also includes funding for projects that will meet the needs identified in the action plan, such as building out the bikeway and the sidewalk network. And a majority of the general obligation bond projects, which we just heard about from Laura, address transportation improvements that are within Vision Zero priority areas and further shows the city's commitment to Vision Zero. While this funding will support the implementation of Vision Zero best practices and building out our mobility networks, we recognize that we're human and people make mistakes. Our city is committed to building a transportation system that minimizes the consequences of human error. Remember what I said earlier? We hear from our citizens every day about the safety of our streets. We all want our neighborhoods and our city to be safe. It is a reminder that we are all in this together. If we are going to reach our goal, we must create a Denver culture of safety and good behavior. 53% of fatalities involve speeding, and speed is fundamental to reducing injuries and fatalities in our community. At 30 miles per hour, you have a 40% chance of suffering a serious injury or dying. At 40 miles per hour, you have a 73% chance of suffering from a serious injury or death. So please, think about yourself and your fellow travelers and drive the speed limit. We have already begun implementing short-term changes to areas with the highest concentrations of bicycle and pedestrian crashes as our most vulnerable users of our roadway system. The intersection of Colfax Park and Franklin, if you haven't been through there, go by. We've made some improvements recently. Several locations along Federal Boulevard where this year 11 people have died, including 7 pedestrians. Where the rate of fatalities on Federal Boulevard is 20 times higher than the rate on other urban Colorado roadways. And we have a number of other efforts planned on Federal Boulevard and other corridors that we are coordinating closely with our partners. As I said before, to carry out the actions presented in this plan and to reach our goal of Vision Zero by 2030, we need your help. Remember that your actions affect others. Be mindful and aware of your surroundings and follow the rules of the road. Remember that human lives are irreplaceable and our highest priority. Denver deserves safe streets. Through this Vision Zero action plan, we will get to zero. Thank you for listening to some sobering information, but I hope you'll encourage yourselves and your other people in your life to be safe in our community as you're traveling around. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Amber McReynolds, who's going to talk about an important event on Tuesday.
Well, good morning. My name is Amber McReynolds. I'm the Director of Elections for the City and County of Denver. And in addition to Denver being the best place to live, to work, and to play, our office has very much been committed to making it the best place to vote. And we've done that in a variety of ways over time, but the voting process in all elections is important. And in this one in particular, we have many important local issues on the ballot. And for us to conduct an election, it does take more than just the elections team in the office. It is a citywide effort, including all of our agency partners, including Technology Services, the Department of Safety, Finance, and all of the city elected officials that are committed to making the process as smooth as possible for you as voters. So there's a couple things that I wanted to highlight today, and one of the things that's important to our team is making sure that your process is accessible and meaningful as voters. So have high expectations for us, and if you have ideas about the process or how it can be improved, let us know that. And if you have questions about it, definitely let us know that too. We have a committed team, and I'm going to ask them to stand. If you're from the elections office, so I know we have a couple people, just stand real quick, because these folks are all working 14-hour days right now, and we'll be there overnight on Tuesday, making sure that everything gets done, and we are all very much committed to making sure that happens for our citizens. The other thing I want to mention is last year we had 85% active turnout in Denver for the presidential election. It was one of the highest vote counts that had ever been done in Denver, and we certainly want to see that kind of trend continue into local races and off-year elections. Right now we're trending right about 30% for this election. So we really want to see that go forward and increase over the next few days. For us, we would love it if you would turn your ballot in today, and if you can't do it today, tomorrow, and if you can't do it tomorrow, Monday, and early Tuesday, right? So we really want to get the results out for you quickly, and you can help us do that by making sure your neighbors and your friends turn those ballots in. Today we have 7 voter centers open across the city from 10 o'clock until 2 o'clock, and they all have drive-up drop-offs, so you can actually just drive through and drop your ballot off. And Wings Over the Rockies today has let us have our mobile voting unit outside. So right as you walk out the front doors to the right, our mobile voting unit is there. You can drop your ballot off, or you can vote on any of our devices. You can register to vote. You can update your address. You can do all the services you can at a vote center right out at the mobile unit. And they have allowed us to be here till 2 o'clock today, actually. So we got an extension. We'll be there till 2 o'clock today. So encourage your neighbors and all of your friends to come back and vote and turn their ballot in. If you've already voted, you can also get an I voted sticker. So we have I voted stickers at our table, right over kind of in the middle here, and then we have I voted stickers available outside. So I would encourage you to get that and wear it proudly if you've already voted, and share some with your neighbors as well. So with that, we hope that you get your ballot in. Definitely encourage your neighbors to do so. Follow us on our social media accounts, because it's a really good way to share the message of voting and the information that we have available to the public. denvervotes.org is the website. Our Twitter is at Denver Elections. We've got Facebook, Instagram, and also we try to live feed all of our ballot processing operations on Facebook Live and Periscope. So we've tried to make it as easy as possible. I'm hoping someday we can figure out a program to have ballots delivered via drone. But until that happens, right now we send it out through the post office, and it absolutely is too late to mail your ballot. So try to use one of the drop-off locations, or coordinate with your neighbors to get those into us. So with that, I want to introduce Chief Q. I'm going to go off the mayor's intro earlier. So Chief Q is up next to talk about some of the safety initiatives. So thank you.
Thank you. It's always an honor to present at these cabinet in the communities. Chief White feels absolutely terrible that he had a scheduling conflict, primarily because this is his neighborhood. So he did want me to share with you that if you have any issues or concerns, just go knock on his door whenever you want, and he will gladly. His address is. I'm just kidding. So, but seriously, we strive to be responsive. We strive to be accessible, and anytime you have any issues, please reach out to us. You keep hearing about Denver being one of the best places to live. Just about every list that you see, best place to live, work, visit, Denver is at or near the top. So much so that it contributes to the growth of Denver. We recently moved up from being the 21st largest city in America to being the 19th largest city in America. Despite that growth, we are maintaining a flat crime rate. It's about a 0.8% increase. We have a couple months to get that down to 0 or below, and we're going to strive to do that. One of the reasons that we have success in keeping the crime rate low is because of the commitment from the city leaders, all of the city employees, and the residents who make up this city. The support of the administration to staff the police department appropriately, we can't say enough about that. We recently graduated 37 recruits, and then we hired immediately after another 52 who are in the academy right now. I had the commander bring 2 of the recent graduates. They're standing right over here. They're going to be serving your community. So they're bright-eyed. I thought it was important for them to attend this so they can see the support that the police department has in this city. Next year, I think there's plans to hire another 100 officers, and we will continue to deploy them where the need is. We're not only hiring sworn officers, but we depend heavily on our civilian staff to help us. This year, we had 19 report takers added to the 10 that we had prior. Their job is to take accident reports or reports that really don't need a police officer to respond. Now, what the benefit to that is that it frees up police officers to do other stuff that does require a police officer, community engagement, crime prevention, and the success that the civilians bring to us it can't be overstated. This year alone, they've responded to over 12,000 calls that freed up an officer to go do something else. So again, it takes a long time to hire an officer. It doesn't take as long to hire a civilian. And to be honest with you, a lot of times they get more proficient at handling these reports than the officers. The commander of this district is Commander Megan Dodge. I think she's been here about 2.5 years. She's doing a tremendous job, and I want to allow her to speak specifically about what's impacting your district and this neighborhood in particular.
Good morning. Thank you guys for letting us have an opportunity. I want to take a moment to introduce Lieutenant McDaniel right over here to my right, and Community Resource Officer Borquez right towards the back. We'll be milling around after to help out with any questions and concerns that you guys have. Overall, District 3, which is this district, Lowry is encompassed inside of it, we've seen a very, very slight increase in crime, just as Deputy Chief Quinones had explained. Most of those are primarily public order crimes, such as curfew, small level narcotics, etc., quality of life issues. The good news on that is those are all being proactively driven by our officers. So we have seen an increase of these officers' proactive work within your neighborhoods, partially due to the fact of hiring some civilians and freeing up those time, of 26% increase in just District 3 alone. So far this year, 51,000 calls our officers have proactively done work that are outside of 911 calls for service to meet the needs of the community, and we get those complaints and concerns from you all so these officers can go out and do those. That's a 38% increase in those particular amounts of crime, and 75% of all of those are officer initiated and driven based upon, like I said, the information that the community gives to us. Within District 3 alone, property crimes are pretty much the one thing that we see the majority of any of our crimes. This year, auto theft is one of those challenges that we are facing within our community. So you will see a lot of our officers reaching out and working not just in enforcement actions, but prevention requests. Nearly 30% of all auto thefts have keys left in them. And I don't mean puffers. People store the key inside the vehicle and they are stolen. So if we could just get you guys to work with us and put those things away so that we can even just eliminate 30% of all of our auto thefts just by not having keys in them, that would be excellent. Hondas and Subarus are what we are seeing the major trend. That is not just in this area, that's pretty much statewide. So if you come and visit us at our table over there and you own a Honda or a Subaru, we have an anti-theft club that we would love to hand out to you guys, as well as register some of your bikes. So those are kind of the trends that we're seeing. I think that it's pretty much good news for all the work that these men and women are doing out there for you on your behalf. And the last thing I'd like to take an opportunity to do is we have every month a Citizen Advisory Board meeting that we host at District 3, which is at I-25 and University, from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. It is the first Tuesday of every month. This The one coming up this next week is actually going to be held at our COP shop because the Election Commission is actually using our community room so that you guys can vote. So if you forget and go there, you can turn your ballot in and then head over to Broadway and Alameda to meet us there, where we'll go over some more of the specific crime patterns and trends that we are seeing within the individual neighborhoods within District 3. Additionally, we continue to have those conversations on PocketGov, so I encourage you guys to register for that. It's great government at your fingertips. You'll have officers posting information out there, and you'll be able to have your questions answered there. So thank you all for your time, and we appreciate that. Anthony, I want to head it back to you.
Thank you, surveys. Thank you. Thank you, Commander Dodge. Would you all give our presenters a round of applause for their work? Because we're right on time. We're going to bring Anthony back up here to send us where we need to be, but I'm going to remind our residents, when you came in, you sat down in a chair that had a survey. We would love for you to fill that survey out. It's important we get your feedback with regards to the presentations that you heard and the speed in which we move this program along. You help us improve the quality. Let's bring up the incomparable Anthony Aragon. Tell us what we're going to do.
Thank you, Mayor. So I was supposed to talk about the survey, and now he just did. So now I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to talk about? Thank you, Mayor. No, so what I did want to mention is I want to really acknowledge the mayor. The cabinet and the community concept was his idea. And as we release you to go to the city fair, the most amazing thing about the city fair is that every single city agency is represented over in the city fair. So if constituents have any question about any issue that impacts you as a Denver resident, your questions can be answered at the city fair. And the mayor really brought that home with this program, and the value and the importance of making sure that every single city agency is represented. So let's give Mayor Michael Hancock another round of applause. I also did want to acknowledge Councilwoman at Large, Robin Knich, joined us. So if we would give Councilwoman Robin Knich a round of applause for joining us this morning as well. We have moved the food because we want to make sure that you're nourished. So please enjoy the refreshments, and let's give a round of applause to Starbucks for donating the coffee this morning for all of our enjoyment so that we can get through the morning. And again, as the mayor mentioned, the most important thing that you can do besides voting on Tuesday is please fill out this survey. Unbeknownst to me, purple is my favorite color, so I kind of match the little survey thing there, a little tidbit for that you can do nothing with because it's useless. But at any rate, it humors me, so that's the great thing about it. But the most important thing about this purple sheet of paper is to fill it out, because we want to hear from you as constituents. What did you find valuable this morning? What would you like to have seen done differently? What did you wish you would have heard? We take all of this information back and we process it all. So please, I know that sometimes people think, I'm going to fill this out and it's going to go nowhere. We use this information. It is incredibly valuable and useful to the community affairs team, and it all goes back to the mayor as well so that he is aware of what residents felt about this cabinet and the community. So after you complete your survey, Roz from the Agency for Human Rights Community Partnerships and Chris, two of my colleagues, they have baskets, and we will find you if you didn't fill out your survey. So also, if you want to take it with you and complete it, we have a basket at the front registration table. So with that, again, reminder that the job fair is taking place right now. So if you have questions about employment, there are employers that would love to speak with you. They are directly behind you. And then, of course, the city fair for city employees to answer any question that you may have this morning. So again, thank you so very much for being here. Again, heartfelt thanks to Councilman Mary Beth Sussman for representing Council District 5, and again to Retired General Barry for hosting us at the Wings Over the Rockies this morning. Thank you very much.